Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover the topic of when you should use Squarespace if you are building your website, or when you should avoid Squarespace when you are building your website. Some of these suggestions may irritate some people just a bit, but out of my experience of building over 150 websites, plus doing SEO on tons of websites as well, I've probably touched over 1,000 websites in total as a Squarespace designer. This is my advice and recommendations for you. Right before I begin, if you get value from this video, please hit that like button. When you hit that like button, it tells me you got value from this content. In this video, I'm going to cover probably about 5 major categories and a lot of topics inside of those categories. So if you're looking for a specific site, go down to the time tags and look at the bookmarks, and you'll be able to fast forward to the part that is most relevant for you. Okay, so let's start with the first category. The first category is going to be portfolio websites. So this could be a designer, a graphic designer, a photographer, an illustrator, a painter, visual arts, 3D art, architecture, entertainer. Overall, if you're looking to build any of those sites with minimal customizations, Squarespace is an amazing tool. Now, if you're looking for something highly custom, I would recommend a different tool. Don't use Squarespace. I'd recommend something like a Webflow. That could be a great place to start. It's going to take more to learn, but it will give you a lot more control. So if you're in music, say you're a musician, singer, songwriter, or just music in general, you make beats or something, and then a whole nother category, if you're a podcaster, this is what I'd say. Squarespace can work really well for you, but the one thing you want to make sure is for your music or your podcast, the integration is seamless. So make sure you know exactly what the goal is. If you're trying to connect, say, Spotify to your website, it's really easy to do that. But if you're looking for more advanced integration or some type of specific system setup, Squarespace might be limited in that way. And for the most part, if you're starting out, Squarespace could be an ideal tool for you. It just really depends if you have a very custom setup. Now, for podcasters, the one thing I would say is, when you upload a podcast, say to a tool like Buzzsprout, you would then have to re-upload it to Squarespace. So Buzzsprout or tools like Buzzsprout will basically populate it across all different platforms, Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts or whatever that is. But it won't integrate to your website. So you basically have to re-upload the Buzzsprout link and embed it onto your website, which is a bit manual. If you're okay with that, it works great, but you have to do it individually. And finally, for this section, I do want to talk about weddings or events. If you're planning an event, I recommend not using Squarespace. The reason is it can work, but it's forced. I'd rather use a Zola or the Knot or something like that, because it ties into your registry, it ties into email marketing, everything is connected and it's made for that. Squarespace, you're gonna have to figure out a lot of things. It's a bit complex. So the second main category I want to talk about is software. So let's say you have an app website or a landing page website, basically a front-facing website for your app or technology or your software. You are obviously not going to try to build your software in Squarespace, but let's just say you need a front-facing website for marketing purposes. Squarespace is amazing. It works great for those types of sites. So this could be any type of website that needs a front-facing side. So you built this awesome software product and you just need a website to show it off. If you need a highly custom website, I do not recommend Squarespace. Same thing as before, I'd go to a tool like Webflow. But if you need something simple that's quick to update, Squarespace is a great tool. Next, let's talk about the third category. This is a big category. We're going to talk about freelancing, consultants, or local/small businesses. So we're going to cover a lot in this section. So if you are a freelancer, small business accountant, graphic designer, coach, freelance writer, consultant, psychologist, music teacher, lawyer, fitness coach, nutritionist, travel agent, or an interior designer, Squarespace is a great tool to use. Further, if you are a local business or a small business, like a cleaners, a plumber, a car wash service, a pet sitter, tech support, a restaurant, a wedding planner, event coordinator, any of those things, Squarespace is a great tool. Finally, if you are a nonprofit or community organization, that's a big category, but if you fall in that category, Squarespace works amazing. It's really easy to integrate donation tools or things like PayPal, or have it built in through your site. By far, this is the best category for Squarespace. Everything I just mentioned works great on Squarespace. And the bonus on top is they include so many other tools that you can integrate relevant to what you need. So if you want to do email marketing, but you don't want to go crazy on it, Squarespace's tool is great. If you want to start selling a few products, you could do that as well. So if you fall into any of those categories and you want to sell a few products, you could easily integrate a store into your site. Unless you need something highly custom, again, Squarespace is a great tool. Now, this is where it could get a little bit controversial. If you're doing e-commerce or retail, let's start with e-commerce. I highly recommend do not use Squarespace if you are doing e-commerce. And I'll be more specific on what I mean. I am a big believer that the future of e-commerce is on Shopify. The amount of integrations and the amount of development on Shopify for e-commerce is just crazy. Yes, you can do it on Squarespace, and Squarespace advertises their e-commerce sell anything option, but in reality, Shopify is 1,000 times better. The integrations for payment and checkout with other tools, the integration for shipping, the integrations for custom products and ordering sequences, the integrations for upsells, the integrations for email marketing, the integrations for Google Shopping and Google Shopping ads. All of those things are very much built into the Shopify ecosystem. I do not recommend anyone who is going to do 80% to 100% of their business is e-commerce focused. Now, if you have a retail store and you might sell 20% online, but if your focus is 80% or more on e-commerce, go to Shopify. Squarespace is not the ideal tool to use. So one more time, just to be very clear and specific on this advice. Say you have a portfolio or you have a consultancy or some type of local business and you might do a few sales online, Squarespace works great. If you are in e-commerce and 80, 90, or 100% of your business is going to be e-commerce focused and you want to scale your business, you want to grow your business over time, do not start with Squarespace. All right, so the next category, this one will be a little bit faster. Let's talk about if you are a real estate agent. Now, if you are a real estate agent, this is my number one piece of advice. If you want your MLS to integrate into your website, first check with your MLS if it integrates with Squarespace, how easy it is, see some examples, and then from there, make a decision. If you want to manually upload your listings, say for example, there's one client I've worked with for a few years, they sell high-end luxury real estate and they upload each listing manually. If you want to do something like that, Squarespace can work great. But if you want to automate it and make sure the MLS uploads everything, the first thing you want to do is go to your MLS website, see if they integrate with Squarespace. Most of them don't integrate well with Squarespace, so you'll most likely use a different tool. Now, let's talk about the next category. Let's say you want to start a blog. Overall advice, Squarespace is a great place to start a blog, but let's go into detail. Now, let's say you want to blog about food, health and beauty, the environment or sustainability, slow living, travel, art, crypto, sports, lifestyle, technical info, life hacks, tech reviews, book reviews, self-improvement, business, literally anything. Squarespace is a great place to begin. Some will say the SEO is bad, but it's just not true. I've seen sites scale tremendously and show up at the top of Google for years on end that use Squarespace as their CMS. Now, if your goal is to build a blog so that you could run affiliate marketing and advertisements on your site, most of those integrations work a lot better on a different platform, not Squarespace. So if your goal is to create an ad revenue blog from Google AdSense, you can force it in Squarespace, but most tools like that and most systems like that prefer something like a WordPress or a Webflow. because you just have so much more control of the code. Now, 2 categories, a little bit smaller, I want to touch on very quickly here. Let's say you want to build a membership site. A very simple, basic membership can work great in Squarespace. If you need a complex membership with intricate parts, Squarespace is not ideal. And number 2, if you're trying to build a directory, I do not recommend Squarespace at all. Use something like a Webflow where you could highly customize the CMS. It doesn't even have to be a fancy custom website, but you can make the CMS exactly as you want it, instead of trying to force a blog to be a CMS for something that's not actually a blog. And finally, I want to talk about categories that I didn't talk about because I don't have experience with them. So let me break these down. So politics, influencer sites, crypto products, or electronics. If you have any tips or advice for those, please drop them in the comments below. It'll help out other people. And if there are any categories I missed, drop them in the comments below, and either I or someone else in the comments will get back to you on their thoughts if it's good to use Squarespace as the CMS for your website. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, like I said, drop them below. And if you got value from this video, hit that like button. The like button tells me that you got value from this content. It tells the YouTube algorithm some fancy stuff, but it also lets me know that you got value from this content. We upload new content every single week. So if you're looking for more content just like this, consider subscribing. With that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.